Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and today I did a wreath. I haven't done a wreath in a while, guys, and I know some of you guys from way back, this is pretty much all I used to do, so let's reminisce a little bit and let's do a grapevine wreath. So here on the table we've got an 18-inch grapevine wreath. I got this at Hobby Lobby, so it says $4.99, but I'm pretty sure I probably got it on a half off day or something like that. But in any event, it's a $4.99 18-inch grapevine wreath. Now here I've got some coiled wire, and what we're going to do is we're going to put a hanger on here first. So I like to use the coiled wire because it's pretty sturdy. It's got a good thick wire in it. Now this is only if you need to hang it on a nail or something skinny, so at least it has a hanger on the back and it implies, you know, where the top of the wreath is. You know, sometimes you get a wreath and you're like, well, which way do I hang it? So I cut 24 inches of this wire, and then I'm going to bend it in half. And then from there, I'm going to flip over my wreath. Well, first I need to find my fancy part. So some of these grapevines I like, they're bigger, you know, bigger pieces there. It's like pointing at it. So this is now what I've decided will be the top and the back. So I'm going to fish it through a portion of it, and then I'm going to show you guys up close. I'm just going to wrap the tails around the loop a couple times. And normally here you would end it, but because I cut a little bit extra than I probably needed to, I'm going to take my needle nose pliers, and I'm just going to wire this thing all around. I'm going to make it look so, you know, crazy that it ain't coming loose, so you ain't got nothing to worry about. This ain't going nowhere, to put it that way. Now normally if you're going to cover it up, you could just wrap it around the entire wreath. You don't actually have to fish it through it, but because I knew I was putting my arrangement towards the bottom, you'll at least know where that is. So here is a big chunk of floral foam, and I had to cut this piece by itself, but because it's a little thick, I'm trying to find placement. Now with a Sharpie, I'm going to mark off a little bit of an idea of how thick I need it to be, because you don't want it to be thicker than your actual wreath. So from here I've got this bread knife that I got from, I think, a dollar store, Big Lots or something like that back in the day. So I use this to cut styrofoam. So I'm literally cutting it, looks like in half, but I'm getting it to the thickness I need it to be. And we're going to use this as our little helper, because trying to just push everything into the grapevine itself, I'm not too successful with the flower staying in, so I wanted to add this little bit of help here. In order to make it fit in the wreath, you could curve it around if you want to. I'm just going to cut the corners off here just to give it a better fit, like so. So that's where we are now. Now we're going to wire it to our frame. So I've got 22 gauge green floral wire, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, but I did want a thicker wire, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it through the grapevine and then pull it taut at the top of every, Whitney, just let me do it. Okay, just let me do it. So pull it through, and then when you go to tie it, you're going to pull it a little bit tight. Now I wish I'd zoomed in here so you could see. That wire at the top of the green foam, floral foam is gone into it. So you can hear the cracking. You can hear it kind of, like I like to say, it's biting into the floral foam. So you see it going in. Now you're not pulling it all the way through, because you're going to end up pulling the foam, you know, you'll cut the foam in half. But I mean, if you're that strong, then power to you, sister. But in any event, I'm just doing this as many times as you see fit. So just pull a length of wire that's long enough that you think will work for your project. I only ended up needing 2, but I did actually, I think I wrapped this around almost a good 4 times. So I'm just twisting it on itself after I get it wrapped around the first time. And from there, feed it through the grapevine and around the top of the foam. Then through the grapevine, top of the foam, through the grapevine. You're just looping it around to give it a secure piece. Each time I go to the top, you can see there that it looks like it's coming out of the foam. It's because I've pulled it down enough to where it's bitten through that foam, and it's not going anywhere. And so from here, we're doing our crazy little, my needle nose pliers, and I'm just wrapping it around another wire. None of this is going to show because we're going to fill it full of beautiful flowers, as you can see my little bundle here. So that's just how we're getting the foam secured. Now to cover the back, I'm going to be smart and actually going to do it first. It's amazing, guys. So make sure you have your back showing, because instead of glue them on the front. And I'm just going to hot glue flowers to it. Now, what I forgot to do with that first flower there is I'm going to pull the plastic off the back of these flowers, or sorry, these leaves, and that makes it much easier to glue down. Sometimes those little plastic veins on those fake leaves keep it from sitting down flat, and then also it takes longer drying time. Then you gotta sit there and hold it. But these leaves are left over from stems I've used in other projects. I'm pretty sure these came off of some hydrangea stems or something like that. But I keep really big, I keep almost all the leaves off of most of my items that I don't use. But these larger ones come in handy for covering up, the behind the scenes, covering up things you don't want seen. So of course, if you end up putting this on a storm door or a glass door or window frame or something like that, to where you do end up seeing the back of it from time to time, then this at least covers up the mechanics or the behind the scenes that you don't really want anyone to see. If you do not care, then skip this step. If it doesn't bother you, then by all means continue on and do not waste your time or your extra leaves, because I would like to believe that you probably still save your leaves even though you don't care about the back of the project like I do. It's all good. We're all crafting together. So I just literally layered them on to a point where I thought they looked decent, and then I thought maybe I need them to look cute too, just in case the back is apparent. I don't plan on having this being seen, but you never know. This could end up being for sale, or it might end up being a gift, but in any event, it's a finished product and it's pretty, so there's nothing really to worry about. So there's the finished product. So that, if you ever peek at the back of it, that's what it looks like. So now we're ready to do flowers. You guys have had this bundle of flowers. I put them all together years ago. If I want to be, all in complete transparency, I bundled these together. I've probably had these for maybe 4 or 5 years, and I'm not exaggerating. I've bought these and put them together in the stores when I figured I was going to make a wreath, and I never did. So that's why they were wrapped together weirdly in that bag. You get them home, you take them out of the bag so that they're not smushed, and then I kind of bundled them together so I wouldn't forget that I bought these to be in an arrangement or a wreath together. So that's my method to my madness. So the largest ones here, these are all from Michael's. These are all Michael's flowers. I'm pretty sure I got them on a sale because I hardly ever buy anything full price. So I'm putting the larger ones kind of in first, and that's a little strange because, no, you know what? I stopped. Wait a minute, we're gonna stop in about 5 seconds. I had to go get a ficus pick or a ficus bush here. This is from Hobby Lobby, but I needed like a buffer. I always it's been a year or so since I've made a wreath, and I always put the greenery in first. I mean, I kind of do that with my arrangements too. I always go after the greenery first. I don't know why. I really can't tell you why. I just like to. I'm sure a professional could probably tell you why, but I think the greenery is like a backdrop, so if it should peek through, or if it's apparent, it's not nobody. If it's apparent, nobody will see, some of the styrofoam or covering up some of the extra pieces. It's not like you're going to see the glue or the styrofoam through this, so maybe that's why. I don't even know if that made sense right now. I got all kinds of things going through my mind. I'm trying to figure out literally why I do this, but I like to put the greenery in first. So you guys tell me what's your method. If you're doing greenery. So then I will go with the larger flowers first. Now I don't normally do that either, but I am going to be putting ribbon in here, and you guys have to tell me at the end what you think, because I think the ribbon kind of gets a little swallowed up, but I still think the way this turns out at the end, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love just the colors I picked. I mean, I pat myself on the back if I didn't know who I was, but I do know myself, so I said good job, Whitney. The colors look great, and so these roses here, these Michael's roses, are very beautiful. They are so realistic. Now, they're not foam or anything, like they come out with those foam roses that look realistic now. They're not foam, but they are really full and pretty, and they're like very thick, and I don't know how to explain it, but those roses are awesome. And I haven't been to Michael's in a while to look at their stems, so I don't know if they still sell them, but I'm pretty sure they do. There's no actual proof to back that up. I'm just saying I think they do, but I mean, because I'm hoping they do. So these are little, what else, Gerber daisies. I was going for pink, and then I guess that's that purpley color that everybody argues over. So, and then I have these little draping ones there. So from here, I'm just trying to fill in the bigger parts And then I'm adding my other Gerber daisy. I have 3 more roses there. Now, at some point, I was having problems getting my items to get into the styrofoam, so you're going to see me pull out the pick machine. And with that, that's not necessarily something you have to do, but I was having problems getting them into the styrofoam. And then sometimes I wanted it to make sure it didn't pop through the back. But we put the leaves there. The leaves should keep that from happening, but at the same time, you got to be a little bit mindful not to push the stems all the way through your styrofoam at some point. So here I'm starting to add these cute little white flowers, and they're so fluffy and they add a little bit of movement. But I am going to end up getting my pick machine out just to try to combat some of the problems I was having with it. We'll see what happens in a couple seconds here. These added such cute, there we go, too short. So here's my pick machine. If you're not familiar with the pick machine, it basically adds a metal pick to the end of any stem, and it turns it into its own pick itself. So it comes in very handy with floral arrangements and wreath making. If you don't have one of these, because it's not a cheap purchase, there you go, check it out. That's threatening and you will cut yourself, so be careful. As I grab the sharp end, great Whitney. It adds a very easy element to it. It's a very good purchase in my opinion. I've loved having it since it was a Christmas present a few years ago. Some of you might remember when I got it if you've been with me for a while. That was a Christmas present my husband got me. Again, we bought that on Hobby Lobby with the 40% off. That doesn't exist anymore. So here I went through and I put picks on all the ends of all my cute little white flowers, and then what I had left of the pinks, and then I'll have to add it to some of the other flowers I have in there too. But this is basically where the arrangement starts to just come alive. I will be adding everything in now. The picks you'll see, I have literally no trouble getting them in. And here's where I will just kind of let you guys enjoy the creative process. Okay, well that was short-lived, wasn't it? Only, what, a couple seconds without jibber-jabber? It's bow time. So this is a 6-inch wide burlap ribbon. I've got this at Michael's. I have rolls and rolls of this because this used to be what I'd use as garland on my Christmas tree. But it's a 6-inch wide burlap. And I like this one for this project because it's a very loose burlap. You can see through it. It's got a very loose grain. What would you call it? What would you call that? Webbing. It's just a mesh, more mesh than an actual other burlap. I have another burlap I got at burlapfabric.com, and it's a very thick burlap. You can't see through it, but this one you can. So here I'm just kind of seeing if I want to still keep my ideas for ribbon. This is a Harlequin type ribbon, but it has these really great colors in it. I got this off of craftoutlet.com a few years ago, and I really like the colors in it. If I would show it to you up close, you'll see it at the end, I guess. But I just did a regular 1-loop bow. So I put it in, and because it's one-sided, I did twist it and then make another loop. And I'm going to do the same thing here with these other ribbons. Now this is this ribbon right here is from the Dollar Tree. It's super cute. They're coming out with more and more nicer stuff, and I'm loving every second of it. So I wanted to add this little bit of mesh ribbon here. Again, that's in their floral department. It comes in 4 different colors, and I have all 4. Of course I do. Shocker. So I added it. That's the cream. It's not a white. That's a cream color. And then here is a 50-yard roll of this polka dot canvas ribbon. This is from craftoutlet.com also. And I felt like the polka dots added a cute little whimsy to these colors. So, I mean, there are very light hints of lilac or purple in the Harlequin ribbon, along with green and yellow. And they're very apparent in person. It's not picking up for it right now on screen on the camera, but you'll see at the end when I give you the guys close-ups in the video. It's very cute. So I literally just did 1 loop each on each one of those bows. I'm grabbing my burlap and I'm going to pinch that again. Again, I cut a strip of burlap and I just folded it in on itself. And so for now, right now, I'm making sure I'm pinching everything in my hand between my thumb and my index finger, and I'm twisting and I'm making sure my tails are all facing the proper way I want them to. And then I'm also tugging on things to make sure that they don't come loose, but we are just going to secure this with a zip tie. Now, I live in the desert, and so if you're putting this outside, zip ties are not what you want to use. Zip ties end up breaking in the heat, and especially if the sun hits them, they eventually become brittle and they will break. So if you're going to put this outside, don't use a zip tie. I am planning on keeping this indoors, and should I ever sell it or give it away, I will give instructions of not to place this outside. This is not an outdoor item. It will get ruined. So make sure that this has a good home. So I left about an inch on the, if you saw right there, I left an inch at the end of my zip tie, and I turned that into a pick through the pick machine. If you don't have a pick machine, you can still use your zip tie, just cut it off kind of at a diagonal and make it sharp, and then you can put glue on the end of that and use that as a pick as well. So at this point, we don't have to add any other type of like pipe cleaner or Chanel stem or another zip tie. It becomes its own pick in the arrangement. Now at this point, I still really like how it is, and the bow is still apparent, but I'm still concerned, guys, at the end. I have a lot of white flowers to put in, and then I have the addition of 2 extra little stems that were kind of like add-ons that I thought were just whimsy and different. They weren't just plain flower, which there is nothing wrong with that. Trust me, I love flowers. I have enough tattoos of them to prove it. I'm sure you guys have seen them. Flowers and pumpkins. It is what it is. But, there's nothing wrong with just nothing but flowers. Trust me. I could roll around in that all day. But I wanted to add a little more texture. So other than the ribbon, which there's 3 different textures in that ribbon, I wanted to add something else as a little kind of crazy, a little kind of whimsy. So don't forget to dovetail your ends, of course. I just did that there. And I think what I did was I forgot to do that to the Dollar Tree ribbon there. But I ended up dovetailing every end of all those ribbons, or all of our tails on our bows. And so here I'm going to just keep adding in what's left. So I'm placing my white flowers for everything I have left. I'm just kind of making sure it's somewhat evenly dispersed around. I don't want it to be too lopsided. Also, I know we put this on a grapevine wreath, but when we get done, there's only a little bit of that grapevine wreath apparent. And I'm fine with that. It's kind of like just a hint of grapevine. So here I'm cutting off these stems. I don't know what these are called. These ones I'm holding right now, these are like little hard plastic berry looking things, but they had the right perfect color of this like powdery bluish periwinkle purple. It's that argument color, I call that argument purple blue. It's like some people say it's purple, some people say it's blue. So now I'm putting these little draping things in here, and I felt like they made it look so, I don't know what you would call it. It just makes me happy. They drape down the arrangement in such a way that it makes it look like, like I don't even really have a word to describe it. Can anybody help me out here? Like, it's very, I don't know, I keep saying the word botanical, but that didn't even apply, Whitney. Jeez. It makes it look like it takes it that step up. Like this was an arrangement, or this was actually something that existed in nature, and these things grew together, and these little berry things, just the stuff that drapes, or the stuff that's like wall climbing vines and stuff. I love that stuff. I absolutely love that stuff in landscaping. I've tried, let me trust me guys, I've tried in my backyard, but the sun out here is not your friend. The sun out here does not like you. But that's what I was going for. I wanted to add something that just was another texture. And when I'm done here and I'm showing you guys here, these little draping berry things are just absolutely, they just add that extra. It's almost like a messy, beautiful bundle of chaos. I don't know how to explain it. Like, as soon as you add the aspect into it to where it seems like it's kind of like almost like an accident, but it's a gorgeous accident, or like someone says it's a beautiful nightmare. You know what I'm saying? It's gorgeous. And those little berries here in the middle, I concentrated them in the middle around the bow because I wanted more focus there, and I feel like this turned out great. So here you'll see this. Now this is studio lights, so to me that's color has already changed. That's more bluish than it was, where it was in my recording lights it seemed more purple. But one of those things, do you see blue or do you see purple? I see pretty. I see I love. I don't care. I want. Give me now. I want that. Look how pretty it turned out. I love those roses. I love all these colors. Now these aren't my traditional colors in my house. Pretty much in my house everything's like green and cream and brown and green and more green, and then pumpkins. Pumpkins are a color, by the way, not orange. I'm just saying pumpkins themselves, they're a color. Now, if I could have found a really pretty white pumpkin, you could nestle that right in the middle there. And who cares if they're spring flowers? Throw a pumpkin in there and leave that up for fall. Because, people do pink Christmas trees. People do all kinds of crazy colors for different holidays. Make your arrangements the way you choose and then interchange them for each holiday. A pumpkin in there would look awesome. Of course, this is coming from the person who has pumpkins in her house year round. So take that with a grain of salt, or at will. So you guys tell me what you think. It's been a while since I made a wreath, and I love how this turned out. That's it for today. I know this is still a little bit of a shorter format. Some of you have wanted me to do the longer format again. I'm still working on it, guys, but just let me know how you feel about this one. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much again for spending your time with me, and you guys, your continued support is always warming my heart. So thank you so much. I love you guys. And for now, I'll see you later, but I'll definitely see you guys in the next video. Okay. Bye-bye.